Greetings, I'm Brother Dr. Abdul Halim Muhammad, and this is One Black Man's Opinion. One Black Man's Opinion is brought to you by Action Community Development Corporation, improving our nation one neighborhood at a time. NTE Planning Consultants, where equity is the basis for resilience in community redevelopment. And the Silicon Bayou, Houston, Texas, 22nd Century Solutions in the 21st Century. I am a student of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and we are witnessing the unraveling of a great nation. The COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic is sweeping the world and this nation. There's an economic downturn, and there's an increase in civil unrest. There's a nationwide spike in violent crime, domestic violence, aggravated assaults, homicides, and robberies. The proposed solution to the pandemic is let science lead the way. The proposed solution to the economic downturn is open up the society. The proposed solution to the spike in violent crime is let's get tough on crime again. And the proposed solution to civil unrest and police brutality is defund the police. With all due respect, none of these solutions will solve the problem. The solution begins with the recognition that we've entered into uncharted waters. With all due respect, science alone will not solve the pandemic, nor will open up the society take care of the economic downturn, nor will defunding the police end police brutality and the social unrest. I repeat, the solution begins with a recognition that we've entered into uncharted waters. It begins with humility. As the king of Nineveh heard the warning of the prophet Jonah, he took off his royal robes, put on sackcloth, and sat in the dust. That act of humility spared Nineveh and extended her time. There is a need to step back and reassess our approach to everything we thought we understood. The COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic has obliterated whatever we thought was normalcy. We have yet to understand what the new normal will entail. News commentator Fareed Zakaria offers 10 lessons for a post-pandemic world. Eric Schmidt and Jared Cohen offered the new digital age, reshaping the future of people, nations, and businesses. Moises Naim presented the end of power, from boardrooms to battlefields and churches to states, why being in charge isn't what it used to be. He tried to give us a peep into what our future looks like. And Ian Morris offered us the measure of civilization, how social development decides the fate of nations. All of these well-meaning authors, as intelligent and brilliant as they are, do not have the solution to the current dilemma we find ourselves in. The solution first and foremost lies in America's religious, political, business, military, and social leaders taking off their royal robes, putting on sackcloth, and sitting in the dust as an act of humility. Let me give you an example of humility. From the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we say there is no criminal justice solution that is sustainable unless and until we rebuild family and community life. Rebuilding family life begins with proper male-female relationships. For strong marriages create strong families. Strong families create a strong nation. Morals and ethics begin in the home with knowledge of self. With knowledge of self, you learn self-worth and value. You see, neighborly love is predicated on self-love. If you don't love yourself, how are you qualified to love your neighbor? We have to learn once again and understand the value of the female, for she is the key to parenting and family stability. We have to relearn the value and the dignity associated with work and business development in the mind, soul, heart, and psyche of a man as a producer, protector, and provider. This is key. Criminal justice reform has 3 elements: prevention, rehabilitation, and reentry. After a man or woman has served time in prison, they need life skills training, education, and 21st century job and entrepreneurial skill sets. Once again, I reiterate, There's a need to step back and reassess our approach to everything we thought we understood. In truth, we don't need to defund the police. We need to de-escalate the militarization of the police. We need to fund community-based efforts. Those who have boots on the ground, who are dealing with this every day. Law enforcement alone, the criminal justice system alone. More judges, more police, more DAs, more jails are not the solution. We are literally bankrupting our future. When you put a felony on someone, you limit their ability to earn. You limit their places where they can live. And in doing so, by criminalizing a whole generation, you've created a caste system. And that caste system will not be able to fund Social Security. That caste system will not be able to fund the pension system. That caste system will not be able to earn the type of living that'll help to pay for bonds, will help to pay for infrastructure, that will help to pay for the advancement of our society. We need to wake up and realize this school-to-prison pipeline is absolutely destroying the future of our nation. We've got to reimagine criminal justice reform. Now let's go back to the pandemic. Science alone cannot solve the problem. You see, the problem really is arrogance. How have we turned wearing a mask into a political statement? How have we turned social distancing into a political statement? How have we turned loving our neighbor and protecting them by wearing a mask, or loving ourselves by wearing a mask, into a political statement? That is the height of arrogance. Science alone can't solve this problem. There is a need for a spiritual and moral revival in this country, where we love for our neighbor what we love for ourselves. Opening up the society for economic purposes is not the solution either. Because if we tend to go back to business as usual, when I say business as usual, I'm talking about that which created the wealth gap. What we're laying out to you from the teaching of Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has nothing to do with socialism as Karl Marx articulated it. We're not talking about dialectic materialism or any such foolishness. Let me put it like this. Let's talk about wise entrepreneurship and not predatory capitalism. Let's talk about it in this way. Even the wisest capitalist understands this. If there's no one to buy food, clothing, shelter, cars, iPhones, iPads, there's no one to buy ice cream. If there's no one with enough discretionary money to go on vacation, to go to the movies, to buy those things over and above their needs, but to buy the things that they want, then the 10% that own 80% of the stocks on Wall Street will not continue to make money. Wake up, America. If you take care of the least, the last, the lost, the locked out, and the left behind, there'll be plenty enough for all of us. So, let me conclude by reiterating. The solution begins with the recognition that we've entered into uncharted waters, and that an act of humility is needed from America's religious, political, business, military, and social leaders. The scriptures of the Bible say this: if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, forgive their sins, and heal their land. It's time that we wake up, America. This is one black man's opinion. What's yours? I'm Brother Dr. Abdul Halim Muhammad.